What is up, everybody? This is Keith Jamison, go by Get a Guy 231 across the DFS industry, and we're back for more EPL. Hope you all got in on some Champions League action this midweek, some crazy slates, some huge names, different results than expected. So it was fun. I'm looking forward to EPL though. Although I will say, with a caveat, these are not my favorite type of EPL slates. I think I just much prefer when Manchester City is off the slate and done at like 7:30, or they're the featured game afterwards. You know, we've termed I think it was Blenderhead that termed Manchester City roulette, or maybe it was Andrew Laird, one of the guys that wrote a wire. But it's the God honest truth with Manchester City, and we saw it midweek in the Champions League. Like, whatever you think, you know, right? You see Kevin De Bruyne, you're like, oh yeah, definitely. Some share set pieces, probably split with Riyad Mahrez. No, Jack Grealish takes over him. De Bruyne still has a great game, but, you know, an assist comes off the corner. Grealish gets it. It should have been KDB's. You know, in my head, it should have been KDB's. Just all this stuff, just City stuff. And then what makes the slate even tougher is you have an incredibly favored Liverpool too. So you're sitting there and you're going, all right, I want to get City exposure, but dear God, like Liverpool is a huge favorite too. And they're at home at Anfield. Like, there's a lot of options to go over. You're going to see that on the graphic as it comes up. You know, so many of these picks, especially the top end, are going to be those two teams. And that's going to be how you attack the slate. And, you know, realistically, you're going to get to a position where you, process-wise, probably made a really, really good lineup that would win in a lot of slates. And if the goals don't fall your way, and there's going to be goals, you know, you might fall out of the cash. So it'll be tough. I'm going to try to navigate you through, talk you through. I think this video and pod will be a little different than previous ones, because I want to talk you through the process of the picks and the process of the thoughts more than the players themselves, because both these teams just played. I'm recording this on Thursday. We had Manchester City Manchester City and Liverpool play on Wednesday after playing the previous week too. So I think there's going to be some rotation in the lineup. So all that being said, looking forward to going over them, but need you to like, subscribe, and comment if you're watching on YouTube at the Mayo Media Network. Get all the phenomenal content on this channel, not only the soccer, which I think is the greatest DFS game in the world, but all the NFL that Pat and his team has planned, all the golf, just the baseball still going on, so much stuff. And if you want more, if the Mayo Media Network did not get you enough content, check up my site out at fsidfs.com. And on Twitter and on YouTube, you will see a longer version of my EPL thoughts and rambles. For this wasn't enough. All right, let's get to it. Oh, I should make note. If you're on pod, daily fantasy picks and bets the mix, another awesome feed, keeps my car drives entertaining on the daily. All right, let's get to the picks. Enough of my rambling, although if you've watched these before, there will be plenty more rambling. So just strap in. Let's go to it. All right. I'm going to start at the top with Sadio Mane. And I did not start with either Kevin De Bruyne or Mohamed Salah, because my gut feeling is that we see both maybe get a rest. Sadio Mane got the rest midweek. Mo Salah played. I think that Klopp may reverse it. And actually, before I get to the picks, let me just go over the odds. I kind of alluded to them. But we got Liverpool hosting a pretty woeful Crystal Palace, minus 468. That's a 3.25 total. So Liverpool, you know, team total is about 2.5 over under. Then you have Man City hosting Southampton, who they've kind of battered in the past. Southampton has gotten a few results in Southampton. This is at the Etihad. That's minus 627. The next biggest favorite on the slate is Arsenal going away to Burnley plus 108. So you have a huge drop off, 2.25 total. Then Norwich is a slight favorite at home, plus 121. Really a must-win game for them versus Watford. That game could really, it's early in the season, but decide a lot of relegation. That's 2.25 total. So as you can see, just from the odds, you're going to spend your money on Liverpool and City pieces. So let's go back to Sadio Mane at the top, especially if you don't see Salah. You know, Liverpool may start a guy like Oxlade-Chamberlain or Minamino over there on the right wing instead of Salah. And that will take a lot of the gravity of the play to Mane in terms of attack. Mane, and then if it's Jota in the middle, who I think that with Firmino out, they really can't replace what Diogo Jota does. I think that's what you'll see. Sadio Mane was really good, bad. He was good for DFS versus Leeds, bad for real life versus Leeds, because he probably should have had 3 goals with all the opportunities he got. Actually, was like pressing so much towards the end of the game that there was a couple of times that he could have passed like a wide open Salah or wide open, I think it was Jota, and he still took the shot just to get it blocked. You know, he's really pressing with Sadio Mane. Where's the number 10 for Liverpool? Super, super talented. We know, you know, he's been up there in the Golden Boot the last 3 seasons for Liverpool. You know, Palace is just really going to struggle with Liverpool's getting press, and just I think that Liverpool's going to get a ton of opportunities. Salah's going to have a few. I'm sorry, Mane's going to have a few, and if he converts, he's going to have a great game. And if he doesn't, the cool thing about Mane and why, you know, we kind of at FSI for the longest time have been more Mane over Salah, because Mane actually does more floor stuff, and always does. Sometimes if that price discrepancy gets too big, if it gets, you know, 1,500, 2,000, you're still better off taking Mane. They're close. I think Mane 10,000 is a great play. Trent Alexander-Arnold, if in, I should caveat, we could see like a Nico Williams or like a James Milner in for Trent Alexander-Arnold who needs a break. But if in, I think from a cash perspective, Trent Alexander-Arnold has shown that he's one of the top 5 floor plays in the EPL. If not like all of DFS soccer, like it's unbelievable how much he crosses in open play, gets a share set pieces, gets direct free kicks. And then we saw versus Milan, you know, has no problem charging into the box to even try to get on the end of his own goals. So Trent Alexander-Arnold, I think in cash games, if in, is probably the first guy you click. You just know what you're locking in there. You're locking in 12 to 15 DK points, and then you still have clean sheet potential on top of it. Jack Grealish at 8,800. We actually saw him take corners over Kevin De Bruyne. So Jack Grealish, we know, does a ton in open play, draws a lot of fouls, doesn't mind taking guys on, and he's also going to get a share of corners for a minus 600 favorite. I think he has to strongly be considered. So Jack Grealish at 8,800 is on my short list. I'm going to skip Pepe. I'm going to come back to him. I just want to finish out the Liverpool and City guys and then give a small rant. So Gabriel Jesus went in. I think it's really important. If you see Ferran Torres in as well, Ferran Torres has been playing through the middle as the number 9. Southampton's going to try to squeeze space. That's what I've seen them do versus City in the past. Just really try to squeeze the lines and make City cross the ball. City, funny enough, does not like to cross the ball for headers. City wants to play methodically. They want to get to the bylines, cut balls back. Like that's the Pep style. He wants passing on the ground to be how you beat teams. Whereas Southampton in the past has thrown so many guys behind the ball, they say, City beat us through the air. Well, if Gabriel Jesus is out wide, kind of like why I like Jack Grealish, there's going to be a lot of crossing opportunities. Gabriel Jesus is actually shown to be a hell of a right winger too, really taking guys on. Looks better as a right winger, in my opinion, than he does as a striker, which, you know, has been what we've been told for 3 years since he signed for them to be Aguero's replacement, he would be. So I think in that situation, I would take Gabriel Jesus over Ferran Torres. I don't think you're giving up much goal equity and gaining a ton of floor and assist upside. So 8,500. Like Gabriel Jesus. Going back to Liverpool, Diego Jota at 8,300, I think is woefully mispriced. If it's just him plus Mane or him plus Salah, because again, it's that gravity thing. If you have Minamino or Oxlade over there, and I don't think it's Origi because Origi went off injured. I haven't seen health status updates. It's only been 1 day. We'll probably get those end of the day Friday, but it's probably one of those two if Salah gets a rest. And it's just a big drop off in talent and experience and just comfort for Liverpool having one of those guys out there versus Jota and Mane. I think at 8,300, we've seen Jota, even when he's playing through the middle, show a really awesome floor, shoots the ball a ton, draws fouls, creates opportunities, does a lot of the Firmino stuff, but kind of has been doing the Firmino stuff better. So 8,300, I really like Jota. I think that realistically, you know, he probably should be in that $9,000 range at this point. Raheem Sterling, I'm predicting that at some point he might start over Grealish on the left, might go out to the right, could even play through the middle. I didn't even think about that till just talking about it out loud, but you actually could see Jesus on the right. They played Sterling through the middle. Regardless, you're getting Sterling, if you know he's in, he's one of the front 3. He's some version of attack. And at this point, he is playing for his job. Like, I kind of like guys that are full of talent. We've seen full of ability still, right? He was arguably England's most, you know, I hope I don't get my head chopped for saying it, but probably England's best player in the Euros, at least scoring wise, was their best player. And sub 8,000, we know the talent's there. He does not want to just lose the spot at City, despite it looking that way. So 7,600, minus 600 favorite. I would struggle to not click Raheem Sterling in my lineups. Bernardo Silva is the last one I want to give to you. When he's been in, has seen a share of corners, and then versus Leicester, really played so much more expansively than we're used to seeing Bernardo Silva. A lot of times we see Bernardo Silva get into this range where he just does a lot of square passing. And what we saw versus Leicester, when Leicester sat behind the ball, I kind of already talked about the tactics of Southampton. Sorry, my dog threw me off, but we're just going with it. But when we saw Leicester squeeze City, Bernardo Silva finished with 8 crosses and was not afraid to throw the ball in the box, get some set pieces as well. He's sub 7,000. You're still going to get some goal upside. And much like Sterling, Bernardo Silva, another City guy just playing for his life. City's just so loaded. You got Grealish, you got Mahrez, you got Ferran Torres, Gabriel Jesus, Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Raheem Sterling, Phil Foden. Like, you have all these guys and you only have so many spots that they can play. So every time they get the opportunity, those guys are going to just be going all out to try to show Pep that they deserve that spot. They deserve to keep getting the playing time that, arguably they're getting paid a ton of money to do and want to make it onto their next contract. So I finished and then just one last player, Andrew Robertson. Andrew Robertson, like I mentioned, that Trent Alexander-Arnold could give way to like a Nico Williams or a James Milner. Andrew Robertson could give way to Kostas Tsimikas, who definitely will take a share of corners. He's 6,000. But either way, the 6,400 Robertson or the 6,000 Tsimikas, to me, is underpriced given just what we know about Liverpool fullbacks. They cross a ton. They take set pieces. And in a lot of ways, they're a floor of double digits even before the clean sheet. So at 6,000 or 6,400, I just think that's a slam dunk. So whoever's starting with left back for Liverpool, I'd go with. All right. I just gave you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the 10 plays the Mayo Media Network gives me on my graphic for Liverpool and City. And here's just kind of my rant on the slate. Getting Liverpool and City right is going to be what matters. I'm going to talk about Nicolas Pepe in a second because he has a floor, because he's on what it seems like a monopoly of sets for Arsenal. All that being said, you could play him, okay? And let's say that Pepe hits his floor, okay? A floor game for Nico Pepe is probably 9, 10, 11, but you're paying 8,700 for it in a 2.25 game where a goal may or may not come. They're telling us that like Arsenal might score 1 goal. So for Pepe to really get into the ceiling type of outcomes, the 15 plus outcomes that we need for him to be effective, we're really needing a goal or an assist. And we could risk it with a floor play like him, or we can go to the Liverpool pieces or the City pieces that have floors, right? Like they're not the traditional set piece taking floors, but they're shots, they're fouls drawn, they're shots assisted. Still 6, 7, 8. So a few less, but so much more goal upside. So that's why we have to allocate our salary to those type of players, to the high upside players on the teams we're expecting goals, because goals ultimately, while floor is fantastic and floor is what I preach and I play my soccer DFS by, you also have to realize when goals are going to occur, how you're going to get access or at least have the ability to be a part of those. So I think that all those attackers are so important and where your money needs to be allocated to have a chance on this slate. All right, Nico Pepe, I think I kind of already did it there, but showed even with Martin Odegaard on and Saka on that he was going to be taking set pieces. He arguably may be on PKs. We've seen it before. Maybe it's Aubameyang. I don't know if I definitively can say I feel comfortable with either one, but 8,700 Burnley, we know gives a ton of crosses. So I think it's viable, but I did just give you my rant on why not. And another big reason that I don't think I'll be playing Nicolas Pepe is because I think Nick Pope, from a goalkeeper perspective, we get a few slates a year when there's like an obvious shot goalie, and this is going to be one of those slates. The build is just going to push you all of your money up top for your forwards and your midfields, or these elite defenders, right? Those elite Liverpool defenders. And you're going to go, where am I going to spin down? Probably on a goalie. Burnley, we know, is a good home team. Nick Pope is an elite shot stopper. And Arsenal just hasn't shown much. Even versus Norwich, they struggle to score. So I don't think Arsenal is a team that we're too worried about. Last thing I'll just say, with City and Liverpool playing, there's likely to be rotation. I've mentioned the name Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain a couple of times at 3,800. If he starts in the front 3 or even in the midfield 3, I think it's tough to avoid. You got a guy like Jordan Henderson for City. You've got like Rodri. If you see any of those teams pop up with values, even if it's like a value center back at like 3,000 or 2,800 or something like that, I think you need to think long and hard, even though they might not be the ideal play. Just with them being such big favorites, just having access to that team is going to make a ton of sense. All right. I hope that helped. I hope that made sense. If it did not, send comments. I'll do my best to check them and respond. You can also find me at GatorGuy231 on Twitter. Just tag me. Be happy to answer any questions that you have on the video, on the takes, all that good stuff. Thank you all once again for watching. Make sure, again, find me at FSI DFS at GatorGuy231 on Twitter, and make sure that you're rewarding Pat and his team for all the amazing work here on Mayo Media Network with a like, subscribe, and comment. Once again, it really does help. Thank you all so much. Have a great game week. With that, I'll say, see ya!